There is no shortage of information on the collapse of the World Trade Center as it relates to asbestos exposure. Entering those key words on any internet search engine will return over 1.6 million results. That much of Lower Manhattan was covered in asbestos dust on 11 September of 2001 and continues to be a problem to this day is well known. The magnitude and level of exposure become apparent when one realizes that perhaps 70% of the 4,000 first responders, police officers, firefighters, and emergency medical technicians, have developed disabling respiratory problems as a result of that day. Mesothelioma normally takes anywhere from 20 to 40 years to develop, yet one paramedic who was on the scene is known to have contracted and died of the disease after less than 5 years. What is less well known is that concerns about asbestos had been expressed almost 40 years ago as the Twin Towers were being constructed. As the towers began to rise over Lower Manhattan, asbestos-laden slurry was sprayed heavily on the steel beams as a flame retardant. This slurry was known as Monocoat, a product of the W.R. Grace Corporation of Libby, Montana. The company marketed it as an asbestos-free product, despite the fact that it contained no less than 12% asbestos. The late Dr. Irving Selikoff, a professor at the Mount Sinai School of Medicine, remembered seeing snowfalls of asbestos-containing material coming down from the construction site. Based on his reports, the New York City Department of Air Resources issued a ban on the use of asbestos sprays in construction on 13 May 1970, but not before almost 5,000 tons of Monocoat had been used. The recently established EPA issued the same ban on the federal level on 4 July 1973, which was overturned in the early 1990s for no official reason. Eager to preserve its profits, lobbyists for the Grace Corporation pressured federal agencies to establish an acceptable level of asbestos in such products. That threshold was established at 1%, known as the Grace Rule. It is still in place today. In the meantime, while mineral wool and fiberglass largely replaced Monocoat in construction above the 40th floor, it is possible that some asbestos was applied by hand in the core of the towers after the New York City ban had been in place. Aside from other issues, the collapse of the World Trade Center towers produced what Ground Zero victims' attorney David Warby calls the worst toxic site ever. Overall, some 400,000 metric tons of asbestos was released into the air, eventually to rain down on Manhattan in the ensuing days. This was recently demonstrated by the toxic shirt worn by an Orthodox Jewish community liaison on 11 September of 2001. After 5.5 years, lab analysis of the shirt showed a concentration of asbestos 93,000 times that of a normal garment. The Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry, or the ATSDR, recommends that Manhattan residents continue to clean their dwellings with HEPA vacuums and damp cloths or mops in order to reduce the risk of further exposure, and participate in the EPA cleaning or sampling program. Those who work at Ground Zero who have symptoms of respiratory or pulmonary disease should contact a qualified attorney to learn what legal remedies may be available to them. Thank you for watching. This video was produced by Asbestos.Net, a leading resource on all aspects of asbestos and mesothelioma. Our priority is to inform victims about the devastating effects of asbestos exposure, mesothelioma, asbestos cancer, asbestosis, and other asbestos-related diseases, and to advise them with a wealth of information. Individuals whose lives have been touched by mesothelioma have numerous questions and concerns. Their caregivers and family members also need accurate, reliable information. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with mesothelioma or asbestos cancer and need more information, we invite you to visit and explore the thousands of pages of oncologist-reviewed material on Asbestos.net, to call our convenient toll-free number shown below and speak with a mesothelioma specialist, or to use the simple contact form found at Asbestos.net to request a free copy of our informative books, custom inserts, and DVD. Asbestos.net.
information, and help for patients and families.